Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dasch Cast. I am Curtis Dash, and join with me, as always, is my co-host Brandon Colongo. Brandon, say hello.
Hey everyone.
All right, guys, let's get this going here. We're doing our postseason round one pick'ems. It is NFL postseason, one of the greatest times as an NFL fan, unless you're a fan of the Lions. Starting with the Indianapolis Colts at the Buffalo Bills. That's the first game on Saturday at 1:05. No surprise in this pick for me. I'm gonna go Buffalo. I think Josh Allen and that team have put together a really good campaign, especially coming into the playoffs. They're coming in with some momentum. Not that really Indianapolis isn't, but I feel like Josh Allen, as of late, has performed. He had that stretch in the middle of the season he didn't really perform particularly well. Threw a couple of really bad picks. Did have some receiver drops. Towards the end of the season, they put that together and seemed like, Stephon Diggs is playing very, very well. He's dangerous. Let's see if he'll disappear in the postseason like he has in years past with Minnesota. But I really think that team is just going to beat that very, very... Like, the Colts defense is like a top two defense, top three defense, I think. I'm just not 100% sure that they can put together... They can hold a team, especially a high-scoring team, kind of like Buffalo. Buffalo can put up some points. I don't know. We saw them give up a lot of points to a high-scoring team in Green Bay, and of course they did beat the Packers. But how are you kind of feeling about this matchup, Brandon?
So interestingly enough, I'm in a position where I don't like the hype, the Buffalo hype right now. I think that everyone's trying to talk them up like they're this incredibly hot team.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that. I saw Allen throw some pretty sloppy interceptions, start off the game slow, and I saw the defense score a lot of points. My heart wants me to pick the Colts, as I'd love to see Phillip Rivers succeed finally after all these years.
That would be nice.
And I just think that lots of Colts fans are too early on, like, they've got all these crazy ideas, like they want to bring in Wentz or they want to bring in Stafford, and they're in the playoffs right now. And I think that they could very well win this game. Like, I want to pick the Colts, but I think I'm leaning towards the Bills, and I'm talking percentage-wise, we're talking 49-51.
Ooh.
So I genuinely think that the Colts could beat the Bills and could beat Kansas City. I just don't know if they're going to be able to string all those games in a row.
I don't think they can beat both teams in a row, definitely. I don't know. I have no idea. It's the eye test for me, and it's silly because they did win 11 games. Phillip Rivers, I want him to do well. And for the record, on this pick, I wouldn't mind being wrong.
They match up best against Green Bay. I mean, could you imagine if Green Bay played them?
I mean, we saw what happened
in the Super Bowl. I would be nervous.
I mean, not that I wouldn't be. Of course, I'm nervous, but we'll get to my.
I would be nervous if Tom had to play them. Honestly.
And another thing about Buffalo that I do enjoy is, that Dolphins team is a 10-win team. They are a dangerous team with a very high defense, and they got slaughtered.
They did. That's true.
I mean, 56 points, and that's what you're coming into the postseason with. And not that Josh Allen is responsible for all that. Yeah, but got to put up those points. Dolphins are a play. I would say Dolphins are a playoff team.
So I guess we're both picking the Bills.
All right, let's go ahead.
In my conviction.
Let's go ahead and move on to the second game here. We got the Los Angeles Rams and Seattle Seahawks. That's 440. No surprise from me here. I'm going to go Seattle. What about you?
I hate to go Seattle also and make the team feel like an echo chamber because I don't feel like Seattle's looked good. However, I just feel like the Rams have looked worse.
That's exactly my thought. That's the only. It has nothing really to do with Seattle being extremely good or anything, and my fear of Russell Wilson being normally the deciding factor on picking Seattle. The Rams just haven't looked good. I don't even know if Goff is going to start. That's a side note. I don't know if he could have played that.
I feel like you have to.
If he played through that injury and could not have got surgery, I don't know if that was an option. I feel like if it is and he misses these two games, that says a lot about your franchise QB going forward. But maybe I'm thinking too much into that. Let's go ahead and jump to your game. Tampa Bay, Washington football team. Alex Smith, after everything he's dealt with, the guy is told he's going to die, he's going to lose his leg. I mean, obviously comeback player of the year, going against the greatest of all time, as much as I don't like saying it, Tom Brady. How are you feeling about this matchup? This could be an interesting. We talked about this a little off air.
Uh, this matchup gives me heartaches because I know that it is the exact. I mean, I would say for as much as you said the Colts have the top defense.
Sure.
I mean, the Redskins. I mean, listen to me. The football team, they really have a good defense. I mean, I'm talking like top 2 or 3, and that's with an anemic offense that
True.
is putting them on the field constantly. I think the big question comes down to can the football team score over 20? Because if they can put up 21, I think there's a possibility they could actually hold this Tampa Bay offense to below 21.
Yeah, that's something you brought up off air as well. Holding the Tampa Bay team to under 20 probably is a good thing for that Washington team. I'm assuming that would be a very ugly Buccaneers game.
But if you just look at it, their pass rush, their front seven, I mean, they have got studs, and they can get after you. And that's what Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady is the last of the quarterbacks that don't have mobility. That's actually like top tier. I mean, because if you look at everyone else has it.
Him and Breeze,
Lamar,
pretty much.
Mahomes, Rodgers. No, even Breeze, I would say, has way more than Brady. I mean, the only one I would say maybe would be Rivers and Brady. Everyone else, they've got Watson. They all can get out of harm's way. Mahomes, I don't know if I said that already.
You did.
Well, yeah, there you have it.
So
Josh Allen, all these guys can move.
But when it comes to this matchup, are you really thinking a playoff Tom Brady and a playoff Tampa Bay team? Of course, with all the stock everybody puts in Brady, if they drop this game, imagine the uproar especially from people like me.
Well, I block out the haters at some point. It's not even. Some of these people aren't even credible anymore because it's the same thing. Is Tom Brady allowed to have weapons question? They're just like any other quarterback. I mean, Rodgers is praised up and down, but he's been to one Super Bowl. So, you'd have to just, hey, it's still the NFL. And sometimes certain matchups are tough. It's just like how those Giants teams were able to win it. It's just like.
See, and I think a lot of the times people underestimate like how matchups aren't talked about. Like, for example, the NBA. When it comes to matchups, they're so closely examined because it's 5-on-5. It's really not you don't look at it too much. I don't think people look at it as a whole too much for matchups, quite like people that actually care about football do. And you talking about that front seven for Washington is very, very interesting. Now, the secondary is a little, I think we were kind of going through that before the Washington football team.
But when your front seven's that good, you don't need that great of a secondary. Just
but
like
the
when
thing
you have
your
Tom
receivers are so good. Can't Brady just throw it up blindfolded? It like Fitz did at the end of that game. What, 2 games ago? Like I feel like that receiving core is going to decimate
what happens
that.
With Mike Evans. We don't know what's up with Mike Evans.
True.
So apparently he's day to day. I don't know what the latest is on that, but and obviously that's why they added Antonio Brown. They've got depth now, so I don't think they lose much. However, with you compound this stuff, they a rough matchup with Mike Evans, in little nagging injury. It all adds up to potentially, make a tough scenario. Now, I'm not like I said. I'm not fully worried about it. It's in the back of my mind. Yeah, I don't want people to just think that, Now, luckily there was a little trash talking happening from Chase Young, so
a little bit of
that always plays well in Brady's favor.
Well, obviously, I'm going Bucks here too. I don't believe in Washington nearly as much as their defense as Brandon does. But that being said, I don't see the GOAT dropping a wild card game on the first day. No, don't see it. Let's move to Sunday here. We got Baltimore and Tennessee. Holy crap, this is a game I would have preferred like an AFC championship game or something. But Baltimore at Tennessee is going to be crazy. Derrick Henry and that entire team, Tannehill being the quarterback he is. You brought up some. I kind of want to let you bring it up, but I have to spoil it. I want to bring it up. You brought up a really good point with the Baltimore and Tennessee game when you said, well, what is it going to do? Come down to a last-second field goal? And I was like, oh, crap. I forgot about Gutskowski down kind of there. Ooh,
It's not just the Gostowski dynamic; it's the Gostowski dynamic with Baltimore's kicker,
Justin
who is
Tucker. Yeah.
the clutchest of all.
Oh my God, he's crazy good, and he's got range. The guy can kick from almost anywhere. It feels like.
You have a shoddy field goal kicker at best, who Belichick moved on from, and one of the all-time greatest. I mean, to me, it's Baltimore. If this game comes down to a field goal, I think it goes direction Baltimore. So I got to pick Baltimore on this one.
I think Tennessee's gonna want a low-scoring game for this in particular. I don't think they're gonna want this going over 20. That means Baltimore's probably balling out. Honestly, I'm gonna go Baltimore here. They were my Super Bowl pick. Kind of have to stick with it. No, no surprise there. Let's move on to Chicago and New Orleans. This is a game for you in particular that could be very interesting, and for me in particular that could be just as interesting. We got a chance for a divisional matchup, the third time if Chicago can win, and that avoids you having to bother dealing with the Saints at all.
I will be cheering like mad for the Bears, but I have no faith that they will win.
Yeah, I like you're talking about the echo chamber here. It's I'm in the same boat. I don't necessarily want to see the Bears a third time. It is hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah, I almost thought you'd rather play the Saints. Just matchup-wise.
When it comes to that, playing the Saints, obviously the Saints are a tougher team, but it's the divisional matchups that I think people underestimate. Obviously, I'd definitely rather see the Bears, just
Fair
because
we
have stomped them twice. It's not like they were close games,
right?
But I don't see it happening, unfortunately, for my sake. And for the final game,
like mad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't think I'll ever cheer for Chicago. I can't.
Yeah, you won't. I will.
But let's move on to the final game of this wildcard weekend. We have the Cleveland Browns and their 17-year playoff drought broken at Pittsburgh, who kind of stumbled into that postseason there.
I don't know who to pick.
On paper, this looks like a Browns win. I feel like...
Does it?
On paper, they're more talented.
Their coach is out.
They're healthy. And that's the thing is, if Baker was
like
Rodgers or Brady or Big Ben, a veteran who has been doing this for a while, I think the head coach being out probably wouldn't matter as much for the offensive sake. But I feel like talent-wise, Cleveland's receiving core is so much better. Their both of their halfbacks are so good. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. That's a crazy 1-2 punch, but it's at Pittsburgh, man. That's something that's interesting. Playing at Heinz Field is kind of tough, very very tough for many teams. This is a tough game. My heart says Cleveland. When I'm just looking at this, my heart says Cleveland right away. But my disdain for Cleveland, as many people know, is top 5. And most of my hated things. So. I mean, it's a conflict there because I don't know if I trust Cleveland. I mean, they have been, it has been a 17-year drought for a reason, Like,
I'll tell you that right now. I don't trust Cleveland one bit. But I'll tell you what else. I don't trust the Steelers either.
Yeah, especially with the way they stumbled into the playoffs, like we're saying. You got to think the Steelers, rested Big Ben and played Duck in that game and only lost by 2. For the Week 17 matchup. Now, that's got me leaning Steelers. I don't think Big Ben's going to come out and lose this game. I really don't. It would be a huge shakeup. I think that would maybe finally shake up the Steelers, maybe kind of get rid of Big Ben or move on from him. I hope. But there's no way that he comes out and drops this game. I feel like they're just going to find a way to squeak through. It'll be a low-scoring game, something.
Think so?
No, but I'm going with it. I have to.
I got news for you. I think it's time for a change.
Oh, snap.
I think Cleveland's going to win this. I love the talent that they got, and I think that Pittsburgh, they're coming off a loss. I don't know. I think I have to go with Cleveland on this.
I can't fault you because there is a huge part of me that says, especially because I do think they are a talented team. I think Cleveland is a
They're so
crazy
talented.
talented team, but on the other side of that, Big Ben has won rings before. Granted, they were kind of on the backs of a couple other players. Anyway, Big Ben has a couple of rings. Connor is not a bad running back. Chase Claypool is a
Turmoil in the Steelers locker room.
yeah. We got them fighting on the side, their own sidelines.
Juju with his TikToks.
Ugh. And Mike Tomlin being Mike Tomlin, though, has seemed to rein these guys in. It just has all the makings for the Steelers to get blown out. It really does. I just until I see it, I'm not going to predict it.
And we can't wait to see it, that I tell you.
That and it's ironically the game we have to wait the longest for. But all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. We hope you enjoyed our playoff predictions. We've got the next, obviously, after these games are done, we have more coming for you guys. It should be, it's going to be a crazy super wild card weekend, is what they're calling it. Please like, comment on the video, let Brandon know that Green Bay is going all the way. Turn notifications on. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. It really does help us out. We highly appreciate it. And we'll see you next clip.